Our agenda, very briefly, Ilker will talk about our new version, 0.21, which was released yesterday. Geronimo will demo the features. We have a lot of updates about the bounty program, and we have 2 new bounties. And we have a spotlight from John Letty from KYVE, built with Ignite project spotlight. And as always, we'll have questions at the end.
Hello, everyone, again. Welcome. This is our, I think, 5th community call, right? It's going very well. And it's very nice that we are growing each day. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty excited for me. So yeah, I mean, today is like we are gonna start with updates about 0.21. We basically made a release a few days ago. This release actually contains new features related to scaffolding applications with the simple names, and now we ask confirmation when you want to scaffold something new in your existing chain. This way you'll have the chance to commit your current changes. So that way, you know, like if you want to revert the new scaffolded code, you can just take it back by doing git stash or, you know, like undo the changes. So it's very good actually. So we don't overwrite your uncommitted changes. So yeah, and I'll give the microphone to Geronimo. He'll be giving the updates and doing a demonstration about these new features. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Iker. Okay, now we share. I want to show really quickly a document to give you a little bit of context. So until now, before this change, the way of scaffolding was by using GitHub URIs, for example, like this, which would generate proto package names in this format, or, for example, blockchain API endpoints with that format. With this change, it's now possible to scaffold a chain using simple names, which would generate names, proto buffer package names with this format, and APIs with this other format. There are other types of names that can be used, like following the Go module path. So let me scaffold a chain. This will take a little bit. So after this, we will check the Go module to see that the name is actually being used. And then we can check a proto file. So here we see that the module name now is just a simple name. Let's see the query, for example. And we see the package name, which is using the new shorter name. And we can see also the API path, which are shorter. Otherwise, we would have like a prefix in both, no? Like before. Let's say something like that. And I can use this actually to show the second feature. So now I have a clean status, okay? So I can scaffold, for example, a new type. Let's say canonical. Without the message.
I mean, looks great. Like before, you have to like give the whole GitHub URL thing when you scaffold a new chain, and now you don't need to like do any of that. I mean, we had a lot of questions about this on Discord because like people think that like there's a repository like this. If you go to tutorials, you will see github.com, Cosmonaut, and Mars. People think that there's a Mars repository somewhere else, somewhere in GitHub under Cosmonaut user. But yeah, I mean, now we can use these simple app names, and you know, it's pretty easy and pretty easy to get started. Very nice.
So now we have a unclean state. Let's say we want to scaffold something new. Scaffold a new type, which is a map, maybe. Let's call it dancers. Also without a message. And now what will happen is going to ask me if I want to continue or not. Now I'm going to say no. So we see that nothing happened. But if I say yes, it will continue the scaffolding, and then we can commit. So those are the two features, basically.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like you can when you say no, you can go to your git command again and commit your changes, and you can run the command again. This way you will be committing your changes before you scaffold something new, so nothing gets overwritten, and you have the chance of taking the new changes back to the old position. Yeah, thank you, Hermino, for the quick demo. Really appreciate that.
Thanks.
So I'll be talking some about bounties, like how to get started to bounties, how you should, if you want to contribute to Starport CLI, I just want to show how you can get started understanding the CLI source code. Yeah, let me share my screen. Let's start with the source code. So yeah, so this is we used to have the Starport name. I think this is the first community call after the rebranding. So the name of the CLI is now Ignite. So if you are not using Starport for a while, just upgrade. And now you'll need to use this new Ignite binary name to get started. So yeah, and our new home is ignite-hq/CLI. So you can access the source code from here. And yeah, let's get started how this source code looks like. I just want to give you some quick introduction about how things are handled here. So so this is the Ignite, the Ignite directory in the root is the actual directory where we keep our source code. So you'll see all the Go code here, but I just want to give a quick introduction about the other directories here as well. Integration directories for our integration tests. Scripts are for creating logs, running some tests, and these are also used on the CI, so we can actually test stuff before merging pull requests. And we have docs. Docs is actually the content, the source code for our documentation website. If you go to docs.ignite.com, you'll see the website for this. And yeah, if you like to contribute to our docs, you can do it here. And we have some assets and we have some actions. These actions are actually can be used by any repository on GitHub. We basically made Ignite CLI an action, so you can actually use Ignite CLI in your CI to actually, for example, release a new binary for your chain. So basically, if you use Ignite build command, it's about building the binary for your source code. But if you use the release flag with this, it will create you a release for your chain, and this release will contain different targets like ARM, or AMD64 for both Linux and Darwin. So you can do all these options, and then you can make your release available online. And yeah, these are standard configurations. So I just want to dive into Ignite directory, and here you will see that we have the CMD package, which is very important because this is what Ignite CLI is actually all about. So if you want to get started by changing something in the Ignite commands, you should first, I think, look at this directory. So for example, let's check out the chain build command. And as you see, this is the source code from chain build. I was talking about the release flag and everything. So this is where it happens. And if you go to the handler for this, you'll see that we are handling the flags. And if you go down, you'll see that we are actually using another package in this repository to deal with chains. So basically, we are using the services package to access to the features of CLI. I mean, you can also use this package, for example, as a package in your own program, and use it programmatically to build a chain or serve a chain. You don't need to directly use a CLI actually. So there's a nice abstraction layer in the CLI. You can either use it as a command or use it as a package. And in the CMD, we use the services package to access the chain features. And as you see, for example, you run the build function from chain, and it does some things, and you get the binary name, and you print this when you use the build command. So, and the second place would be, I think, I would show the services package. And here, I mean, all of the, I mean, majority of the stuff happens in the chain package when you run the chain command, and also we have the scaffolder command. And it uses service to scaffold something. So when you use Ignite scaffold command, basically use scaffolder service to scaffold you something new. I mean, maybe you are familiar with query type, Oracle packet. So we use all of this. Let me show you about chain. So yeah, I mean, ideally we have a file name with the same name as the package. And as you see, we have some business logic related to chain. There are options. There's this new function. Like we try to follow the same pattern every way, so it will be easier to understand the source code and add something more on top. So these are the services packages. And we have this another package called package. It's a weird name, package, but yeah. In the package we have like all these like utility-like packages. So basically, we try to move utility functions out of the service package, so it will be easier to maintain them. And also, these utility packages can be used independently if you are building something new. And if you want to do your own tool or something like that, you can just directly use these packages here. And we have like some beautiful packages. And one of the advanced ones is Cosmos client. Basically, this package allows you to create a client Ingo for your blockchain. Actually, for any blockchain, it's compatible with any blockchain. Basically, create a new instance of this, and then you can just query your blockchain, handle your accounts in the blockchain. We have account function as well here, and we have consensus information. We have broadcast text. You can just pass some messages here and give the account to sign, and it will sign the messages and it will broadcast it. So yeah, if you want to build a client for your blockchain, you can just use this package. And yeah, we have a bunch of others like this. For example, let's see, Cosmos Gen. Cosmos Gen is used for generating clients as well for your blockchain. For example, we use this package in CLI. So then you use the generate command or generate Wax command or generate Go, protocol generates Dart. We basically use this package under the hood to generate a Dart client, JavaScript client that runs on the browser. And these clients generated are specific to your blockchain. It's like you have your own Web3 library for your own chain generated by Starport. Starport will basically analyze your source code and find the types that you have in your blockchain, find the messages, find the queries, and it will just create these libraries. And for example, you can just publish your JavaScript library to npm and ask people to get your JavaScript library by using npm install, and they will be able to interact with your chain by using that library. I think it's pretty cool. It's like, yeah, and thank you for everyone who's like helped on making this package even better. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, we have a lot of things here, but like overall, just go ahead, check the Ignite directory, check the CMD package, check the services, check the package, and you'll know more about the source code, and I think you can start. Then please ask us if you have any questions. And like we have a lot of issues here. Not all of them are bounties. So if you think that one of these or any of these should be a bounty, just ping us and we'll convert that to a bounty. And probably assign you because you came first, so it's very great. And yeah, I just want to like go quickly these two new bounties. So let me start with the config file one. Let's see. Okay, so here we have this new bounty, and it's about introducing a migration system to the config file. Basically, we were always using this version 0, and now we want to change the format of config YAML because we'll add more features very soon. And for this, we have to have a migration system. So we can upgrade the config YAML in existing blockchains to the new format without breaking anything in people's chain. So if you're interested in this, you know, like just take a look on this bounty. We have some explanation about how it can be done. Let us know if you have more ideas about how this can be implemented. And we also have another bounty here. It's, I think, pretty exciting because we receive a lot of questions on Discord saying that how can I start my own testnet because I'm developing my application and I want to know, you know, how my application works with multiple validator setup. So yeah, right now when you use the chain store command, it will actually only start single validator node, and it will run that, and it will show the output of that validator. But after we have this feature implemented, the store command optionally can start multiple validators at the same time. And you can actually test your blockchain in this multi-validator architecture without having to do this manually. And the new configuration YAML will look like this. We had the validator field, now we will have validators. So it will be an array, and you can configure each nodes individually here. And as you add more items here as a validator, we will run all of these validators. And you will be able to use the validator flag to choose which validators logs you want to see when you run the store command, because you cannot show all of it, otherwise it will like very chaotic. So you will use the validator flag to see a log of certain validator that's been running under the hood. So yeah, this is all, and I just want to quickly also show you the let's see, on Discord we have this, and if you don't know already, we have this bounty channel here. So if you go here, I mean, you will see that you will be able to see the bounties we post, and you can just show interest on them by just creating a, let's say, new thread here. And just please let us know about your experiences in the past in Golang or blockchains. You don't need to know too much about blockchains to get started. It's rather more important that if you know Golang. So yeah, if you are interested, please claim bounties from here. And yeah, and I really appreciate your help. I mean, as a team, we are growing each day, but we still need our community's help because we cannot do everything, and it works like that, right? We need to get the help from our community, otherwise we cannot be successful. That's why it's really important for us that our community is contributing to us, and we have this nice relationship with everyone. So yeah, that would be all for me about bounties. I hope I didn't bother you guys too much. And yeah.
One thing I think that's so interesting about the bounty in the community is, I think I'm going to share my screen again, is we have had 4 completed. The program was launched on the 1st of March. We have 4 currently in the works. 2 new bounties were introduced today. And because we are giving Atom token rewards for completing the challenges, there are new legal terms that you're required to complete the KYC to receive your token. It's time for our project spotlight. And does anybody have questions about the bounty program? We will have more at the end. And yes, I know somebody would love to see more bounties. Like Ilker mentioned, if you see something you'd like to claim an issue and have it be a bounty, please engage on the issue in GitHub and in Discord. And I think now it's time, right, to hear from our project spotlight.
Yeah, no. So just kind of gonna walk you guys through what KYVE is to start out with, and then can kind of walk you through why we chose Starport or Ignite CLI as the way to build our Cosmos SDK based chain. But so I'm the co-founder of KYVE, and you can think of KYVE as building a massive decentralized data lake. Basically, what that means is we've partnered with all these major L1s and L2s, so like Solana, Polkadot, Near, Cosmos, actually, Avalanche, pretty much everyone. And what we do is we take data like raw block and transaction data from their blockchains and then feed it through our proof of stake network, which then permanently stores it on Arweave, as well as validates that data as well. That's very cool because then, say, for example, you want to fetch like all EVM transactions that you've ever done, not just Ethereum transactions, but all EVM transactions, because you have a 0x whatever wallet address, right? So because KYVE archives some 10 plus EVM blockchains, what you can do is you can just go to KYVE and say, hey, listen, I want to fetch all my EVM transactions sent from this one wallet address. And because we have archived and validated all of those chains, you can do that. So that's kind of like a high level overview of what we do. Now, just to give you a little bit of history and some context, what happened is we were previously building out this system actually as just an EVM-based smart contract, mostly because that's just what we were mostly familiar with. And so, normal ERC20, you would stake the ERC20, and then the nodes in the network would interact with this EVM smart contract. It worked, but of course, the normal problems occurred where, obviously scalability is very hard with EVM because, you are always having to optimize. You have to, worry a lot about gas, as well as, especially if your nodes are interacting with the network during a time when, the latest hyped NFT project just launched. Your nodes, instead of paying like $5 to send a transaction, are now paying, thousands of dollars, right? So obviously, we were fine with EVM, but, we always had some of those problems in the back of our head. Now, we were deployed on the Moonbeam network. If you're not familiar with that, that's EVM on Polkadot Kusama. And basically what happened is they actually completed an upgrade that actually removed EVM support, which basically made their chain just a transfer chain, which was hilarious because we were like, oh, well, KYVE doesn't work now, which is great. So basically, while, we were offline and, the Moonbeam team was working hard on resolving that issue, while we were offline, we were, of course, with those problems about EVM in the back of our head, we were looking at other networks as well as also looking into app chains. So, the usual suspects came up. Obviously you have Avalanche subnets now. You also have, Polkadot, substrate-based chains, and then also Cosmos as well. So, we were looking into all of them, and actually, it was actually the Ignite CLI called Starport at the time that we actually came across that actually made a switch because beforehand, although, actually, to be completely honest, the developer experience in Cosmos, especially with the Cosmos SDK, is the easiest to get started with. Ignite CLI just makes it so much easier. And so, yeah, so actually, we were in a WeWork at ETH Denver at the time. And what we did is it was like Monday night, and we were like, okay, you know what? We can't do anything anyway since we're offline. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try out this Ignite CLI. And so that night, on Monday night, we scaffolded the chain, Ignite chain scaffold. At the time, it was github.com links. Now it's actually quite interesting that you can do just, simple names as well. That's super cool. We scaffolded it. And then actually by the end of the week, so on Friday night, we actually had a full-on devnet running, which is super cool. It's actually a very cool mentality switch as well, because when you're building a Solidity smart contract, you have functions that your users interact with. And very similarly, actually, to a Cosmos SDK-based chain, instead of functions, you just have messages and transaction types. So that's very cool. That's kind of the walkthrough of like why we chose Ignite CLI. And then, of course, just how easy it was to work with. We got a proof of concept up in 4 days. I mean, of course, there was loads to do after that because, you can't just launch your chain in 4 days. I wish it was as easy as that. But, it was super cool to get started with. I saw one more question on there, Barry, which was like, what features we're excited for? But correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, you're muted. Oh.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. If you did have some features that you were wishing for or might be excited about.
No, to be honest, the main feature that we were excited for was actually the Cosmos SDK upgrade, but that was included in one of the previous upgrades of the Ignite CLI. So I think you guys upgraded to v0.45.3, and so we're happy on that one now. So that was the only thing that we were looking for. Other than that, it's just we've had no problems with it. Just smooth sailing ever since. No, so what happened is, so previously we had these functions that our nodes would call in our network. And those would just be functions on a Solidity smart contract. They would connect to an Ethereum RPC, normal EVM stuff. What we did instead is we basically, actually from the user's point of view, nothing actually much changed, because instead of calling EVM functions, you're just submitting Cosmos SDK transactions with a different type. But no, so we didn't implement EVM on Cosmos SDK. That's what Evmos is doing. What we did instead is we basically just transferred the state and the function logic from our EVM contract onto Cosmos SDK.
Denver and build your devnet by Friday.
No, exactly. Yeah. No. It was actually the perfect time to do it, because it was the entire tech team had got together in Denver, and it was going to be chill. Just go to ETH Denver, just relax, and then obviously Moonbeam went down. Well, not down, but obviously didn't work, and so the entire tech team was just in a WeWork all week, and we were just hacking away, and it was really great. Some of us didn't even have experience in Go, actually, which was super interesting, because the ones that did have more experience in Go were hacking away, and then the other ones were just quickly brushing up on Go, and then we would kind of swap, and then yeah, it was loads of fun.
You give some advice to people who might be interested in getting started.
For sure. So actually, it is very simple to get started. So I don't know exactly what advice I could give. Yeah, just obviously read the docs. We found the Ignite docs extremely helpful, as well as all those examples. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit and just kind of scaffolded straight away, and then I had to kind of hold myself off, read through the rest of the docs, because I did miss a few important things there. So yeah, no, definitely read through the docs. Also, the Tendermint and Cosmos SDK docs are super underrated as well. I think that those are super important to read. Other than that, yeah, just to be honest, no advice. It was just extremely easy to do. I mean, as long as you know exactly what you need to implement, you're good to go.
It's pretty exciting to see that it's really making a development easy, Ignite CLI, and we're very glad that you're sharing your experience on this. So thank you, John.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the thing is we were looking at the Cosmos SDK, and we were I mean, obviously it's easy, but we were okay, we could probably create an app.go, and then we can probably create these modules, and yeah, we can learn protobuf along the way, and then we found Starport, Ignite CLI, and then yeah, we were oh, they do everything for us. That's awesome. And then yeah, after that, yeah, actually, okay, one feature request that I would have is actually after we scaffolded it and kind of got a release ready, we did end up then switching over to buff support. So instead of having proto and then module chain name, so it would be proto KYVE and then module name, and then having all the proto files in there. Obviously buff then follows the version format as well, so having potentially an option to set where you can scaffold with versions, I think would be super cool. But other than that, yeah, it was super seamless.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, initially we wanted to actually use buff as a tool to build stuff with protofiles, but I mean, it's it makes me very sad to see this. But if you check, I mean, at the time it was maybe it's better now. If you check buff's repository, you will see that they put all their logic into this internal directory. So we cannot actually use their code as a Go package, because I mean it doesn't allow us to do, because everything is inside internal package. So that's why we actually had to implement our own thing to deal with protofiles and code generation. But yeah, I mean, in the future, we can still switch to buff and basically offer everything that buff offers in addition what we offer by default. And of course, even if that's not possible, we will do our own way to bring these features native on CLI. So yeah, it's very great feedback. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, of course. And I didn't know that it was actually like an internal package that's.
Yeah, I mean, we hate to implement something that's already there, but what can we do? Like, it looks like open source, but not open source. It's limited open source, something like that.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, also we also have Gjermund in the call. Like, Gjermund, if you like talk about, you are actually working on this new feature to make like the build commands faster, and I think it's also related to Proto. And like if you want to talk about this and also empower, yeah, stage is yours. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, happy to. Yeah, so I'm currently working on one of the bounties for speeding up the CLI commands, and in particular around a lot of the generation of these files from the protocol files are done a lot more often than they actually need to. So basically, it's a lot of caching of things that I've already done, and you especially notice it on things like that are coming from the Cosmos SDK that are not going to change very often. It's a waste to spend 10-15 seconds on every refresh to rebuild those. So basically, we're adding like a caching mechanism to do that once, and then reuse those. And then, of course, having quite aggressive cache invalidation to make sure that you don't end up with strange errors because things doesn't rebuild. So it's checking the hashes of the different of both the source, and if you end up by mistake deleting something or changing it, it will also rebuild it. So yeah, the initial benchmarks are pretty good, and since it already starts the caching process when you scaffold, even the initial service is down by quite a lot. So it's hopefully that will also make the user experience of getting started even smoother. And yeah, and personally also when and I'll get to that, we're also building a chain with the CLI. When you're doing the Ignite chain serve command and you're making a small change to test something and you have to wait for 30-40 seconds, it's kind of annoying as a developer feedback loop. And depending on the changes you make, it can go down to just a few seconds now, which is just a whole different development experience. So yeah, I've been using the locally the build that is currently in code review, and it's very nice to have that speed up.
I mean, I believe after this, and once you like make the output of serve command like much more better and beautiful, I think it will feel like you are developing a front-end application, or like it will just run under the hood like you are developing in Wix, and it will do these hot reloads as you change your source code, and it won't take too much time. Like it was tens of seconds, and now it's just a few seconds. So it's very good, Gjermund. Yeah. Thank you very much. You brought this to the CLI.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. It was fun to analyze, to find all the bottlenecks, and then start to tackle them. Yeah, maybe I can also, since I'm up here, just mention also the project we're working on. So I'm the CTO of a startup called Empower. So we're building software and digital infrastructure for circular economy, and which we've been doing since 2018. But now we're sort of getting to a point where we're starting to want to decentralize more of those components and so on. So we're building a chain, Cosmos-based chain called Empower Chain, which is going to have certain modules for incentivizing cleanup of plastic waste, plastic credits, which is like similar to carbon credits, but for plastic cleanups, traceability of waste movement, and so on. So it's a very interesting project. Of course, I'm extremely biased, but it's really fun. So we're going to be sharing the white paper very soon. We're at the final pieces of it now, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thank you.
That's so great. And if you are working on a project and you're using Ignite CLI, we love to hear from you and support your project with all kinds of community. I think now it's time for question and answer. Lucas, did you want to put forth a question and answer one yourself for anything from your end?
I think it will like ask me anything like questions. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know, and we are happy to. Yeah, I mean, we used to have like, so you probably want to just import the WASM model to your blockchain. So I think you can just do that manually. If you go to WASM repository, you will see, the documentation for it. And then, like you can just go to your app.go, make the wiring, and yeah, it will, under the hood, it will do everything. And you will have the WASM command available under your blockchain. We used to have an import WASM command, but like we had some inconsistencies between the versions of WASM. I mean, so WASM wasn't supporting the oldest version, the latest version of the SDK at the time, and we were like scaffolding with this new version of the SDK, so we had to drop support for WASM at some point. But it's quite possible that we'll bring it back with the import command again. So yeah, but until then, you can just manually import WASM to your project.
I think that looks like a wrap. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us for the community call. We will post the recording and announce it in Discord and Twitter.